Tickets for this all-ages show range from $35 to $65. Find out more at fmtn.org/Civic Center or at 505-599-1148. Beatles vs. Stones, a musical showdown at the Farmington Civic Center, Saturday, January 12th.
Robots the size of blood cells, Earth-like planets outside the solar system, science fiction.
No, science faction.
Join us, Seth Shostak and
Molly Bentley and
KSJE, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. for Big Picture Science.
Big Picture Science steps back to get the wide-angle view on science and technology.
So think big. Big Picture Science, Saturdays at 8 a.m.
on KSJE, the information and cultural beacon of the Four Corners.
KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, your community hospital with a rich heritage that dates back to before New Mexico was a state. We've been improving the health of the Four Corners since 1910. As a nonprofit hospital, San Juan Regional Medical Center is a values-driven organization. We strive to deliver on our mission to personalize health care and create vitality and enthusiasm in healing. We are here for you when you need us, offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services. Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It's Friday morning, January 4th. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE, 90.9 FM and 90.9 HD. Also a special welcome to our viewers who are watching us live this morning from our visual radio studio on the KSJE Facebook page and YouTube channel. Coming up in just a moment, we'll be talking about some teacher recruitment scholarships that are available in the area through San Juan College, through a grant the college has received. It's called Project Alpine. We'll be talking about that in just a moment with my guests who are in the studio with me this morning. And then I want to remind you that later on today, Mick Hess will be here at 9 a.m. roving with the arts. Today, Mick is playing some music from Gypsy on the program, as well as sharing some arts news with you about what's going on in the area and things along that line. At noon today, it's our Friday Spotlight program. You will hear my interview with newly retired San Juan County CEO Kim Carpenter as he left office at the end of 2018. We'll play that for you today at noon on KSJE. And then today at 12:30, it's our storytelling program that we produce in cooperation with our partners at the Farmington Public Library, Cuentos, Hana, and Tales. You'll hear some great stories coming your way today at 12:30 right here on KSJE. But let me turn to my guests who are here with us this morning from San Juan College talking about this new opportunity, Project Alpine. And joining me here in the studio, Alexis Domi is here, and you are the director of the teacher education program here at San Juan College. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Scott.
Good to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You bet. Michael Thompson's also here this morning, the director of the alternative licensure program here at San Juan College. Michael, good morning to you.
Good morning, Scott. Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming in to talk about this new opportunity, right? This is a brand new grant that the college has been awarded, correct?
Just awarded in the late fall and plan to implement this spring semester.
And that's why we're talking about it this morning. And the idea is all about teacher recruitment. And as we've talked about just before we came on the air this morning, there is a ongoing teacher shortage in our state as well as many of our neighboring states and nationwide, actually, of getting folks into the profession of teaching. And it's evident here as well, right, in San Juan County.
It is. It's this area, like many remote and rural areas in New Mexico, has had a kind of historical difficulty in both recruitment and in retention of teachers in our rural areas. And we've also, that's been exacerbated by kind of a retirement bubble in the teaching ranks that has been moving through the profession for the last 5 to 10 years. And
we'll look at you, baby boomers.
That's exactly right.
Right. Yeah.
At the same time, the four-year programs, young people going into the teaching profession, has slowed down considerably. So programs like ours, an alternative licensure program, which is basically seeking people with a bachelor's degree and another subject area who would like to become a teacher, we have a relatively short 3 to 4 semester program by which those people can get a teaching license and begin teaching right away once they've been accepted into our program.
And that's been around for a while now, this alternative licensure program, right?
At San Juan College, this program began about 2004, so a little over 15 years now. And there are only about 5 or 6 programs, alternative license programs in the state, and we're the only one in the Northwest region. So we've been serving quite a few school districts. We've probably put, on average, 40 to 50 teachers in classrooms in San Juan County every year for the last 4 or 5 years at least. We put teachers in classrooms prior to that, but probably not at the rate that we're currently experiencing.
And again, it goes back to recruitment, because as you mentioned, in some of the rural parts of our state and our country, it's maybe harder to get teachers to go into the teaching profession or go to one of these communities if they're coming from somewhere else and stick it out for a year, 2 years, 3 years, things along that line. We see a lot of turnover in our school districts, don't we? Especially some of the rural ones. Alexis, what have you found?
Sure, we do. And recently we had a report published through New Mexico State University's SOAR program, and they came to the conclusion after surveying EPPs throughout the state that there were 1,100 teacher vacancies.
An EPP,
October.
pardon me, is an education teacher
preparation
program.
Ed prep program.
So,
Thank you.
And 1,100 really is collective for teacher, counselor, librarian, anyone in a school who's critical staff for students. And that's 1,100 this fall, comparatively to last fall, which was about 800.
Wow.
So it's growing, and it's a critical issue among educators.
And I can only imagine what that means for the students who are in a classroom with a teacher, and then all of a sudden the teacher's gone, and they have a sub or a long-term sub or hopefully maybe a replacement teacher, but that's not always the case.
And it's incredibly disruptive to lose a teacher in the middle of the year. It's incredibly disruptive to start the year with a substitute. It pulls on everyone. It takes resources from the whole staff, from the administration, certainly from students' optimal learning and instruction. So we're just trying to do our part to pull teachers from our surrounding communities and from the region. If we can, teachers who have a bachelor's degree in something and who have shown or demonstrated some interest in our area in northern New Mexico and some of our outlying counties.
Right. And again, that goes back to recruitment. If you can find someone who maybe grew up in an area or has family ties to an area, they're more apt to stay in that area as a teacher and not bounce around, I suppose.
Absolutely. In fact, the way we wrote the grant application for Project Alpine was to try to identify people who already have ties to the particular communities, school communities that we've partnered with. And so we've partnered with Central Consolidated School District for 11 of their most rural schools, the ones which are located south and west of Kirtland, basically. So the Shiprock schools, Newcomb, Noschitty, Ojo, Amarillo.
Right.
And then in Farmington, their highest native serving schools. So there are 4 schools in Farmington. And really, we have 2 primary goals. One is to assist the school districts in recruiting and retaining teachers in those kind of hard to staff schools in their particular areas. And then the other goal is for us as a program to increase the diversity of our teacher candidates, because that's something that we have struggled with a little bit here in San Juan County. We'd like our teacher candidates to be as diverse as our student population in San Juan County, and that has not always been the case.
Right.
So we could have excluded this grant to native teachers only, but we decided we wanted to include any teacher, native or non-native, who wanted to make a commitment to these native serving communities. And so oftentimes someone might be a spouse married to a native person from that community, or they may just have relatives, or they may have a particular tie to a particular community in this area.
Sure.
So those are people we're looking for.
Okay. And these people, these individuals who maybe have thought about getting into teaching, and so this opportunity would be part of the alternative licensure program, plus this Project Alpine scholarship would help to make this all possible. Is that the idea?
Right. So we were given a generous support from the New Mexico PED, Public Education Department, and that's supported by the New Mexico Legislature to provide these 22 scholarships for our candidates over a 3-year period of time. When they do enter the program, they will be fully funded through their books and for their coursework, for certain sort of outside costs that they may incur over the time in the program. If they teach at a school that's more than 25 miles away from San Juan College, they would be eligible for a $750 travel stipend to help them come back and forth. We'd rather that they live in the community where they're working,
right.
To be a leader there and to work with those families and students.
But if that's Newcomb or Naschitti, as we mentioned, that is a commute from San Juan College. So
quite a commute. So Newcomb is 69 miles away from San Juan College. So we would like to support the growth of that community and certainly people who are interested and vested in working with those students. So we would offer them that travel stipend to help them out. And then, so over the course of the program, I believe they end up with more financial support from San Juan College than is given by course or is necessary by coursework and books. So there's just that little bit that makes it more of a scholarship and supports them as they go through their first 3 years as a teacher in their same school, which contributes to the retention piece of our objective.
In fact, part of the funding for the scholarship provides will help them pay for the cost of testing. And one of the things about licensure is there are a lot of tests that teachers have to take and pass in order to become licensed. And so in the elementary license track, those elementary teachers have to take and pass 4 state tests. Secondary teachers have to take approximately 3, and special education teachers have to take approximately 3. And each of those tests comes with a cost that the teacher candidate usually has to bear themselves. So this Project Alpine is going to help cover the cost for those teachers going through our program for all of their testing in addition to their tuition and books.
Gotcha. And this is different from what's been done before then, is what you're saying?
We've never had this kind of scholarship funding for people in our teacher prep program before.
Okay. So that would be up to the student or the teacher to pay these extra expenses, whereas through this program, many of them are covered, if not all of them.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're talking about this morning. A great opportunity for folks who want to get into the teaching profession, and I think we're seeing more attention given to the teaching profession. We hear a lot of talk at the legislature about teacher salaries and things like that. Is that maybe helping to turn the tide a little bit about folks getting into teaching or reconsidering that as a possible career, or is it too early to tell?
We hope so. Every month we meet with deans and directors across the state of New Mexico. We're working to create and craft plans for the legislature in the event that they want to hear from us about things that are critical for teacher education and certainly critical for the teaching profession in the state and regionally. And as we kind of go forward in some of that work, it's about making sure that the field honors the teacher and honors that the profession honors the teacher who's there. So a living wage is truly part of that. And I know that there's some appeals right now that exist to counter some of that. And so with a new leadership, there could be some great change for teachers in that way. Michael?
I think I'm willing to make a bold prediction here that it's what I've been telling the teacher candidates in our program. I absolutely believe that within the next 1 to 2 years, teacher salaries in New Mexico are going to increase significantly. There is interest in the legislature. There is some funds on the horizon within the legislature to fund increased pay for teachers in New Mexico, and we have to do it. We've gotten to a point where we're not competitive with the surrounding states, and I think people have realized that it's necessary. So I believe teacher salaries are going to go up. We've already seen this week that the governor-elect has taken steps to get rid of the PARC testing and replace it with another form of testing that would meet federal standards. That's going to impact teacher evaluations. It's going to impact the school grading system. Some of the things that people in the state of New Mexico have seen as onerous and uncomfortable for making for teachers in the last few years. So I think we've got very positive changes on the horizon. It should make teaching even more attractive to those people who may have had an interest before.
Right. And I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir a little bit here because you guys are long-term educators and committed to the field of education, as am I, and here we are at San Juan College, committed to higher education in our community. Right. And so it just goes without saying how important this is, but important to serve some of these communities, because sometimes here in Farmington, even as the largest community in the region, we don't always see some of the struggles happening in these more rural communities, which is exactly what you're talking about, of trying to get more teachers from the community into those schools that are just down the street maybe from where they live.
I think that's true, and we have been expanding our geographic region that we've been serving at San Juan College, at least in the alternative licensure program. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've had a number of people go through our program from for example, the community of Dulce, which is a significant commute from us. But we are, as I said earlier, we're the only alternative licensure program in this area of the state. So we've served some people in Crown Point, we've served some in Gallup, some in southwestern Colorado. So we have expanded our reach in order to serve some of the more remote communities, and it's been positive for us because we've been able to learn more about those communities and include them in the San Juan College experience, maybe in ways where we hadn't been reaching them quite enough in the past.
And again, another opportunity for them to get into the profession of teaching and to move this forward and try to solve some of these shortages that we see in the communities. So my guest this morning, we are talking about Project Alpine. It's a new scholarship program, a new grant program being given to the alternative licensure program here at San Juan College, and it's being offered through this program. So folks would have to sign up through your program, Michael? Is that how it would work?
Yes, they would follow the same initial steps anybody applying to the alternative license program would follow. There are about 4 basic steps. They'd contact our office and they would get an application packet. They would need to become an enrolled student at San Juan College, a very easy process that can be done at the website online. They would schedule the 1 basic skills test, actually 3 subtests, the reading, writing, and math test they would need to take in order to be accepted. They would get their official bachelor's degree transcripts to the admissions office at San Juan College, and then they would schedule their interview. So the same 4 steps anybody would follow, and then we would determine their eligibility for the Project Alpine based on their interest in serving in one of the 15 schools that we are partnering with in Central Consolidated School District and in the Farmington School District.
Gotcha. And that's how to get things started. So that makes a lot of sense. So let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more with my guests about this exciting new opportunity in just a moment here on KSJE. The time right now is 8:27. KSJE is supported by Beatles vs. Stones, a musical showdown, coming to the Farmington Civic Center on Saturday, January 12th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets for this all-ages show range from $35 to $65. Find out more at fmtn.org/Civic Center or at 505-599-1148. Beatles vs. Stones, a musical showdown at the Farmington Civic Center, Saturday, January 12th.
Will the big tech trade show CES get bitten by the tech lash? From American Public Media, this is Marketplace Tech, demystifying the digital economy. I'm Molly Wood.
Marketplace Tech